I have been so frustrated with libertarians' inability to get out of their own way. I'm tired of it. Do you want help or not? Do you want to know how to sell these ideas and grow beyond your little group of weirdos who want to talk about politics instead of actually doing politics? Fine. I'm done then. I'm not going to play this stupid game if that's all it is to you, is a stupid little game. It makes you feel good. Great. Congratulations. You have I'm a secretary at my local county LP. Who the fuck cares? No one. Nobody cares in the greater political arena that you held a secretary position for your local LP county.
Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show.
Well, hey there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, and thank you for joining us on a fourth fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you from our lovely Cardio Miracle Studios here in sunny Eastern Indiana. The Brian Nichols Show is powered by our friends over at AMP America, folks. You know that the garbage corporate media is just perpetuating nonsense left and right. So don't support them with your clicks and views. Head over to ampamerica.com. Get the news you need to know without the extra media or extra corporate media bias or fluff. ampamerica.com. Head over there today. Hit that subscribe button. I promise you will thank me later. Also, if you want to thank me for having the best heart health supplement in the world that will, in fact, make your heart feel the best it has ever felt, stick around for later in the episode. I'm going to talk about our amazing studio sponsor, Cardio Miracle. Stick around for that. But first, hey, folks, elephant in the room. We had a Libertarian Party convention a few weekends ago, and the results are in. What did we learn? We learned a lot. Well, I learned a lot, and that is, well, I think we all know the elephant in the room, and that is libertarians suck at sales. I'm just calling it out, just saying it for what it is. Libertarians suck at sales, specifically selling our ideas to an audience of folks who are in our ideal customer persona, or as I've called it here in the show many a time, our ideal voter persona. They don't focus on going after the right people. Also, they don't talk about the issues that the voters actually care about. So I had some thoughts about the Libertarian, Libertarian Convention. That's the official title of what just happened over here. Yeah, the Libertarian Party National Convention. And I wrote an article about it over at, yes, aforementioned AMP America. So that's today's conversation. We're going to read through this article. I'm going to give some extra context and commentary to the article. So folks, stick around. If you want to check out this article and read it at your own pace, you can find it over at ampamerica.com. So here I'm going to go ahead and add to the stage. Yes, libertarians suck at sales. Again, you can find this over at ampamerica.com. This will be linked in our show notes. So I'll go ahead and read through this. I'll pause, give some commentary. But yeah, let's start off. So the Libertarian Party recently held its convention. And as someone who has been deeply involved in the party and its principles for years, which, I mean, we've been doing this show since 2018, and I've been in the LP or the greater libertarian movement since 2015, 2016. So yeah, 9 going on a decade, 9 years going on 10 years. So I definitely have a vested interest. And with that, I couldn't help but feel frustrated and burnt out at what I witnessed, because the main reason for my disappointment is simple. Libertarians suck at sales. To understand where we went wrong, let's start by examining the two different approaches taken by the main camps within the party at the convention. So you have Angela McArdle, LP chair, and the Mises Caucus, who are focused heavily on creating a spectacle. And I'm not using the word spectacle in a negative sense. I'm talking about just getting eyeballs. And they invited high-profile figures like Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to the event. And while this strategy certainly garnered more attention for the convention, which was the goal, it failed to address the real issue at hand. And that is a lack of compelling candidates who are running as libertarian torchbearers. And this here is one of the main issues that we have for the Libertarian Party, just by and large. So let's continue. The elephant in the room. Yes, we all know it. We all acknowledge it. Dave Smith, he would have been the best candidate, and he would have likely won the nomination hands down on that first ballot, but he chose not to run. And what did that do? Left a void. And the Mises Caucus was scrambling to fill that void. They opened the door in that scrambling for candidates like Mike Termott, Michael Rechtenwald, Chase Oliver, Lars Mapstead, and Joshua Smith to fill the void. And if I'm being honest, none of those candidates really excited me as a voter. So going into the nomination, I was already kind of throwing my hands in the air for the LP. I was like, this is not going to be a good year for us. Even if we get a good candidate out of these five candidates that were at the end of the finish line here. Now, Lars Mapstead and Larry Sharp were the only candidates who presented a practical winning strategy and made efforts to reach people outside of that libertarian echo chamber. I've gotten questions on this part of the article. They're like, Brian, Lars, who is he? Who is Lars? Now, I know Larry addressed the Lars question when he was on the show, the Friday before the convention, talking about how Lars has been an activist in the LP. Just he's not the one out there with a bunch of podcasts. He's been investing lots of money of his own money into the Libertarian Party itself. And I think there was like this negative reaction to him actually putting money into a campaign to reach people that aren't libertarians. That's just what you have to do to win an election. So I knew, though, that Lars wasn't going to win. I think we all kind of knew that it wasn't going to be his year. It was going to come down to Rechtenwald and someone else. And I unfortunately had a feeling that wasn't going to be Lars. So I knew I had to start considering some alternatives. So I started looking at the other guys that were there. Josh Smith. I love Josh. He's a great guy. I've had him on my show. I've been on his show many times. But the reality is, I just don't think he had the bandwidth or the resources to take his charismatic style and his firm understanding of libertarian principles to propel him to the nomination. And honestly, you're not just trying to get through the nomination. You got to stand up against, yes, the Democrats, the Republicans, i.e. Biden and Trump. Like that is what you are called to do here. Hey folks, I want to take a moment to talk about something that has truly changed my life, and that is Cardio Miracle, our incredible studio sponsor. Now, I'll be honest, when I first heard about Cardio Miracle and their claims about improving heart health, I was skeptical. But after using it for just about 2 months, I was absolutely blown away by the results. First, my blood pressure went from being consistently around 140/90 to a much more healthier and manageable 120/80. And my resting heart rate dropped from the low 70s to the high 50s. And I couldn't believe it. But the benefits didn't stop there. I started sleeping better, and I felt more energized at the gym, and my heart felt the best it's felt in years. And it's not just me. Hundreds of you, our amazing listeners, have reached out to share your own incredible experiences with Cardio Miracle. So, what is Cardio Miracle, and how does it work? It's a carefully crafted supplement that harnesses the power of nitric oxide to support optimal heart function. So, by increasing nitric oxide levels in your blood, Cardio Miracle helps relax your blood vessels, improve circulation, and it protects your heart from damage. It's like giving your heart the support it needs to function at its best. And here's the best part. We've got an exclusive offer just for you, our loyal listeners here at the Brian Nichols Show. When you head over to cardiomiracle.com and use code TBNS at checkout, you'll get an extra 15% discount on your order. Plus, with their 100% money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So, if you're ready to take control of your heart health and experience the life-changing benefits of Cardio Miracle for yourself, just click the link in the show notes or video description. Trust me, your heart will thank you. And don't wait another day to prioritize your health. Join the tens of thousands of folks who have already discovered the Cardio Miracle difference. Head to cardiomiracle.com now and use code TBNS for 15% off your order. Your journey to a happier and healthier heart starts today. And now, let's get back to the show. So, I like Josh. I do. I didn't think he was going to be a good fit. So, or not necessarily a good fit. I just don't think he had the bandwidth or resources. So, who was left? And it was Chase Oliver, Mike Termott, and Michael Rechtenwald. So, let's go through them. I've had Chase Oliver on my show back a few years ago. And yes, for those of you who are reading along with me here on the screen, you already see my thoughts, but I was not impressed. Yeah, here's why. So when you look at Chase, I recognize right from the onset that he was more of, and I'm just going to use this term very, very loosely, but he was more of a left-leaning libertarian. I know there's going to be a bunch of libertarians being like, left-leaning, what does that mean? Let's talk about that. So I don't think he's a communist. I don't think he's a socialist. But, and this is where really the Reno takeover happened in 2022, was because of this. Chase and folks like Chase there was this soft acceptance of these leftist narratives, right? And his willingness to bend the knee to the insane backwards COVID restrictions during the pandemic. Yes, it was concerning. I thought it was actually maybe a little bit more concerning. I thought it was just insane that we would be just walking, alongside the government bureaucracies who are telling us what to do, shutting down our lives, and just being like, yeah, nothing wrong here. Yeah, we're just going to do what they say. As a libertarian, I don't know, that just doesn't seem like our approach. So back to the article. So when I had Chase on the show, I really didn't get many answers from him that made me confident that he understands not only who our ideal voter persona is, but how to get that message out there, right? We need to get our message out to out of our echo chamber, and we need to make inroads with a voting demographic that will not only vote for us, but they will become advocates for us and our causes. And in the best case scenario, they themselves will become libertarians. And that is the goal. But going after little college lefties, who they're the future, are they our ideal voter persona, though? Probably not. Most definitely not. Mike Termott. Oh, good old Mike Termott. So I've had Mike Termott on the show 3 times, something like that. And despite him being a nice, down-to-earth guy, back to the article here, he had nothing really compelling about his campaign. And as I said, yes, he's been on my show. The windscreen. For those playing along in the home game, you saw me break my studio. So it wasn't a windscreen. It's my my split screen here. I have a very aggressive attack on my P's and my B's. Anyways, so I like Mike. I think he's a nice guy. I don't really have negatives about Mike, but there's also nothing really exciting or positive to promote about his campaign. His big thing beyond, I didn't put it in the article here, but beyond his libertarian AI chatbot, which if you were like, who's the best libertarian candidate? It'd be like, Mike Termott is the best candidate, and here's why. So that was sneaky, Mike. I like that. But he had the gold New Deal, right? And listen, like I get it. He's trying to take verbiage and terminologies that people might recognize or understand, and he's trying to repackage it. But when you repackage stuff that uses the same vernacular as the left and right, it's just it's serving to confuse folks, right? It's like, if we're trying to get new voters, going back to the article here, attaching libertarian ideas to leftist progressive Democrat concepts like the New Deal is 1000% counterproductive. What are we doing? It conflates 2 different set of principles and ideals, which is not a winning strategy. So, just Mike, why? And then, yes, okay. And then there's Michael Rechtenwald. Okay, I want to start out, and I'm going back to the article here. I want to start out by saying I don't have anything negative to say about him personally. I do not have anything negative to say about Michael Rechtenwald. I think he's a nice guy, as I say here in the article. He seems like a nice guy, and I'm sure he's built up those libertarian bona fides and credentials over the years, and we've heard him, right? I've heard him on podcasts, and yet even when I heard him on those podcasts, before he was even considering running for the nomination, he doesn't have it, guys. The it factor. Okay. Away from the article for a second. Why is my button not working? There we go. When you look at somebody like a Dave Smith, he's got it. I don't know what to put into words. He's just got it. He's got the charisma, he's got the persona, and he knows how to address these issues to a voting base. And I think Clint Russell actually did a really good breakdown of what makes Dave so successful at this. And that he is a stand-up comedian, and he is using that skill of reading the audience and learning what's resonating and what's not, what's missing. And he changes his presentation, his delivery on the fly. And I see a lot of parallels. I used to be in theater and stuff back in the day. I used to do a lot of productions, like Broadway stuff, not actually Broadway, but like old Broadway tunes that would go off Broadway. I love that stuff. That was my jam. And that's kind of the same idea. Now, granted, when you're in a theatrical production, you have a set script. But I used to do like, I didn't do stand up, but I did like improv stuff. I was in a men's a cappella group. Like you play with the audience. You have to be able to understand what works and what's not working. That's something that Dave Smith has, something that Clint Russell has, not something that Michael Rectenwald has. And that's not, I'm not trying to shit on the guy. Like, I think Mike is a nice guy. I think he's a down-to-earth guy. The it factor was missing. And I don't know why we were just pretending that he was a great candidate, because he wasn't, guys. I'm sorry. He just wasn't. So going back to the article, I didn't finish this part. Yeah, I couldn't help but feel that he just doesn't have it. He lacks the charisma, the wow factor needed to inspire voters. Yeah, I said that. Yes, he can talk about principles, but he comes across as a borderline hipster college professor, and there isn't a lot of credibility around his campaign. Why did he come across as a hipster college professor? Well, and then there was Michael's actual convention mishaps, where he allegedly took marijuana edible and completely crapped the bed during his speech after Trump's, only further disqualifying him from a messaging and sales perspective. Yep, if you're trying to be the torchbearer for the Libertarian Party, and you have one of the leading candidates of the opposing party giving their whole rigmarole to the LP, and you, who is trying to be the LP torchbearer, has an opportunity to stand up in front of the audience that you're speaking to and all of those folks watching along at the home game and plant your flag and create a distinct difference between you and your competition, Donald Trump. You had that opportunity. Threw it away. Just tossed it in the garbage because decided that you needed to go ahead and take an edible. Now, I know he said in an interview, I think it was afterwards, where he thought, the edible would help relax his nerves. He'd taken some, I guess, like hits of weed before. He'd done some speeches before to help calm him down and made him more coherent. I guess he got some good stuff, and it was a little too much, apparently. So, and this is, where he fails. So as a candidate, you're just not the torchbearer for the ideas or the isms. You are the torchbearer for the party in the election. Your goal isn't just to try to get votes, but also bring new people into the movement and get a message out there. And when I looked at Rectenwald as a candidate, he just didn't inspire me. So here's some inside baseball. And yes, I write this in the article. Frankly, this might be too deep of a peek behind the curtain, but that's also the main reason I rejected the ask from Michael Heist to be Michael Rectenwald's campaign manager back in August of last year. Mike called me, Michael Heist called me, and he basically laid down the reality. Dave Smith's not going to be the candidate. We've looked at other folks. We've looked at, I think he's mentioned Clint Russell. They'd asked Clint. I think Clint said no at the time before he said yes to the VP run. But I didn't see him as a good candidate. There was nothing inspiring. There is no, you got to have it. And there just wasn't an it. And yes, going back, I also had been asked candidly after the Reno reset to take a leadership position at the LP. I'm not going to go into the details of what that position was because it's a big one. But after I saw the writing on the wall, and Dave had kind of hinted at this, like, hey, maybe I'm not going to do this. This isn't really something I want to do, run for president. I got 2 little kids at home. I have a little kid at home. I get it. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of a commitment. But yeah, I'm sorry, Michael Rectenwald. Sorry, Michael Heist. Was not an inspiring candidate. Now, yes, as I continue to say in my article, I definitely have a vested interest in the success of the LP. And I said no, because I didn't look at the direction the party was heading and think it's going to be an organization I could confidently restructure and help. Here's why. So the people trying to sell LP solutions and be the torchbearers for the party, in my humble opinion, just weren't and aren't the type of people we need, like a Dave Smith, to achieve success. If it had been Dave Smith running, I would have absolutely considered, and granted, as I mentioned here in the article, I'm sure if Dave had announced, I wouldn't have been asked because I'm sure there would have been a million other folks out there who'd be like, who wants to be Dave Smith's campaign manager? And everybody raises their collective hands. That's where libertarians are collective. Anytime Dave Smith's doing something, we like it. Or collective against him when he doesn't do something that they like. I'm looking at you, lefty libertarians, or as I've so affectionately coined you, you libertarians. I didn't coin them that. I found that online and I thought it was funny. So yeah, no, that is at the end of the day why I said no to the Rechtenwald campaign. So going back to the article, I need to make sure right now, and by the way, this is for you listening and for you reading. My opposition to the LP needs to make sure I'm framing it in a way that it shows I'm not just having some negative knee-jerk reaction because my guy didn't win. I mean, I didn't have my guy. I didn't have a guy running in this race. I want to say I didn't care. I was so disheartened with our choices from being like competitive beyond just like this, pardon the expression, libertarian circle jerk of who's got the most principles. Okay, I fucking don't care. At the end, oh yeah, I said that part. So I didn't have a specific candidate running. The closest I had was someone like a Larry Sharp, a Clint Russell, or a Lars Mapstead. And I mean, Lars, I don't really know a bunch of his principles. I don't know if he's like, an ANCAP, Ron Paul libertarian. I saw his strategy working. The 269 strategy. Don't let one of the candidates get to 270 and use that as a leverage point. Like I thought that was an interesting plan of attack, and it gives people something to vote for from a policy prescription standpoint, not just like the persona standpoint. And Larry is just a great human being. Clinton's a just phenomenal communicator. So yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, one of them was running for POTUS, the other two were running for VP. And when I looked at those other candidates, just no. Now I'm going to bring up a guy who I really like, and I think we can learn from, and that is Vivek Ramaswamy. And when you look at a candidate like Vivek, and in this case, he's running as a Republican with small L libertarian beliefs, you can instantly see why is he compelling? What is he saying that people are resonating to? And you see, and I say this in the article, you see why people are interested in what he has to say, because it's not just what he says, it's how he says it. And also, it's how you convey the message to the masses, but not just masses in general, but the masses that matter most, our ideal voter persona, the folks that we can actually bring on board, not just for a vote, but a complete restructuring of their approach. You can be right about principles. You can be right on the isms, but if you're not right when it comes to actually conveying our ideas to an audience that's not already libertarian, and I think this is the part I cannot stress enough, as I say in the article, you have to go over after the folks who are overtly not libertarian right now in order to build a coalition of folks who can be libertarian in the future. That's it. I mean, that is the role that we have as candidates, if you are a candidate. So when I looked at these candidates who were running, I saw a bunch of folks who they really enjoyed preaching to the choir and specifically preaching to their choir. And that is not how to have success. When I see people like Vivek who are running as members of the GOP, but have incredibly strong libertarian positions, no, he's not 100% libertarian, you freaking autistic nuts who are like, well, he said, name unlibertarian position here. I say, okay, you put him on a scale 0 to 100, where does Vivek find himself? Oh, like upper 80s on the libertarianism scale, and that's not good enough for you? Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't realize we have to have 100% purity in order for the candidate to be a candidate we can support. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. And when we look at people like Vivek, and he goes to the GOP, and he's able to get people who we look at in the libertarian camp, and I'm just going to use this in a generalized expression here, because again, the autism rages supreme in the libertarian movement. But we look at the GOP, and I think more often than not, rightfully can say they're not liberty-oriented. But guess what? There are folks in the GOP who do embrace liberty, who do believe in our ideas. They just don't have somebody to be the torchbearer. They got Rand Paul and Thomas Massie. Okay, Rand Paul is a U.S. Senator from Kentucky, and Thomas Massie is a U.S. Congressman from Kentucky. So if you're in Kentucky, 2 thumbs up. You got some good advocates. But if you're not in Kentucky, who do you support? I see a lot of libertarians, small L, who are like, Trump. I get it. He's the bull in the china shop. And sometimes he knocks over the leftist glass, and sometimes he hits the libertarian glass. So you don't never know what you're going to get with him. But with Vivek, I mean, you know what he believes because he will tell you, and he will articulate why he believes it. Why are we saying no? Because, and here I continue, there's something we need to learn from Vivek. And instead of looking at him and saying, oh, you're not one of us, we need to look at what he's doing and doing well, figure out why he's doing well, and learn from that. And frankly, we have not done a good job at that. The only people who really have considered what Vivek did and why he did well are folks like Dave Smith and Clint Russell. Like those are the 2 folks I hear mostly in our libertarian world promoting Vivek from, yeah, he isn't being autistic in his promoting of libertarian ideas. Okay. Yes. Going back to the article. So across the board, when I look at where the LP is today and where I think the LP can head, I'm very nervous. And frankly, I am not jumping for joy. I am not enthused. Do not pass go. Do not collect $500. Because I am quite frustrated. I am quite burned out. With who? The Libertarian Party. And frankly, you guys, libertarians in general. And I'm talking about, as I say in the article, the libertarians who actually live in this libertarian world. You promote this stuff daily. You're the folks who read the books. You know what you're talking about. You understand the isms, but you don't understand how to talk about it. That is who I'm frustrated with. And that is who I am burned out with. I use this expression a lot. This autistic focus, because it is an autistic focus, by the way, on being right and knowing how to do it best when you look at your results and objectively have zero to show for your decades of hard work, your decades, though, of being right. And it has led to nothing of success, nothing of tangible value for both the party, nor promoting the ideas of libertarianism and policy changes in this country. You know who has, though? Rand Paul, Thomas Massie. Yep, Republicans who happen to be libertarian. But Brian, they're not 100% libertarian. I know, and they're successful. What can we learn from that? If the Libertarian Party, as I say in the article, wants to make a real impact, it must learn how to sell its ideas to a broader audience and choose candidates who can inspire and connect with the voters outside of our echo chamber. We need candidates who not only understand the principles of libertarianism, but also how to effectively communicate and message our ideas to the masses in a way that resonates and inspires action. And until we address this fundamental issue of sales and messaging, I fear the Libertarian Party will continue to face disappointment and irrelevance on the political landscape. It's time we take a hard look in the mirror. We learn from the successes of others, adapt our approach if we ever hope to make the kind of impact we know our ideas can have on the world. I'm tired, folks. I am tired of libertarians. I love you guys. I do. But damn it, you make it hard. You make it really hard. That's what she said. You guys need to get out of the books. Like over here, kind of hard to see over here. I have a bunch of books. I have like 30 books right here. I have a library at home. How many times have you heard me take a book out, open it up, and start just reading it, regurgitating the book to you guys? Probably 0 times, because that doesn't work. Just throwing a book at people and saying, learn this ism. Okay. But why do you think that works? Like, I know a lot of us out there, and I used to do this in the show a lot. I used to have every guest who was a libertarian tell tell me your libertarian story, right? Like, how did you become a libertarian? And it was, everybody, oh, I saw Ron Paul debating Rudy Giuliani. It's like, oh yeah, same here. It was awesome. But how many folks are like, I was sitting down, I read this awesome book by Murray Rothbard, and that's what got me on board. Or, oh my God, I was listening to this speech from David Boaz. Guys, like, and I am so frustrated right now with the libertarians in general, because I've been talking about this stuff for 4 years now, 5 years, specifically on this show, of how to sell liberty. Everybody in the audience should be able to recite this with me right now. Say it with me. Ready? Meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Who in the candidates did that and did it well? Josh, kind of, like, because Josh knows how to talk about this stuff, and he does it in a really good way. But, like, again, Josh just didn't have the infrastructure. And I get that. He's got like 300 kids. Sorry, Josh. But it's tough, right? Bandwidth issues. It's a reality. If you're a dad with, I'm not joking, Josh has like 6 kids. I think it is 5 kids. He might have more. I'm not being a jerk. He might have more kids. I don't know. But like, that's tough. I have 1 kid. I couldn't run for president right now. Having a 14-month-old, good God. But like, I get it. Now, Josh did run, and Josh is a great communicator. Beyond that, who else in the LP that was running was going to be able to wow the masses, to motivate them to go and vote for a libertarian, and then say, you know what? Not only did I vote for that guy, I think I might be a libertarian. Tim Pool was talking to Bill Ottman today, yesterday. I guess while you listen to this, it's going to be from Wednesday night's show. Excuse me. And one of the things that I was just nodding in agreement with Tim Pool about was Bill Ottman was talking about how if only people heard what the government was doing, they only saw what the CIA was doing, that they would pay attention and they would care. And Tim Pool said, no. People care about inflation, economics, buying groceries, immigration, the issues that actually impact them daily. Now, Bill made a good point. He's like, well, the CIA doing all this stuff, I mean, they're impacting Americans daily. But it's not a matter of, again, the going into the behind the proverbial curtain and trying to look like Charlie from Always Sunny with the lines going from one thing to the next, and he's trying to show how this all comes together. You got to meet people where they're at, right? Like, again, I know this sounds like I'm a broken record at this point, but just this idea that if only we educate people enough. My show is about educating, enlightening, and informing. But education is one part of the puzzle. Enlighten and inform. You can only enlighten somebody by getting them interested. You can only inform somebody by getting them interested, by showing something compelling, offering that WIIFM, what's in it for me, right? Radio station. Like, you have to understand what motivates your voter. It's not the ism, folks. It's not libertarianism. It's what libertarianism does to the problems they see. Let me say that again. Libertarianism does not sell. The solutions that libertarianism brings to the table, when it addresses the main problem points, the pain points, the kitchen table issues that your average person is sitting down with their family talking about, that is what gets somebody to not just be motivated to vote, but to change their way of thinking, to do things in a different way. The most dangerous words I hear in sales is, well, we've always done things this way. Libertarians, we've been doing things this way for 50 years. When's it going to be enough? When are we going to look in the mirror and say, this isn't working anymore? Let me rephrase that. This has never worked. The way you have been doing it does not work. People aren't buying what you're selling because you're not selling it to the people who are interested in buying. It's like you're trying to sell a new car to someone who hates cars and only wants to ride a bike. They're not going to buy your fucking car. They want to ride the bike. They think your car is a pollution tool that's just, it's destroying the environment. I don't want to drive your car. I want to ride my bike. But the car gets you from point A to point B faster. The car is safer if you were to get hit by someone. They don't care. They don't care. They don't want to buy the car. So stop trying to sell them the car and find people who want to buy the car. Understand who your ideal voter is. For crying out loud, we have been spending 50 fucking years talking about this stuff nonstop. About, this libertarian philosopher is better than your libertarian philosopher. Well, I hate that economist. That economist is an overt racist because they have principles that don't align with mine. Fuck off. Yeah, and I'm a little heated for this episode. I'm sorry. This has been burning in me for going on years at this point. I have been so frustrated with libertarians' inability to get out of their own way. I'm tired of it. Do you want help or not? Do you want to know how to sell these ideas and grow beyond your little group of weirdos who want to talk about politics instead of actually doing politics? Fine. I'm done then. I'm not going to play this stupid game if that's all it is to you, is a stupid little game. It makes you feel good. Great. Congratulations. You have I'm a secretary at my local county LP. Who the fuck cares? No one. Nobody cares in the greater political arena that you held a secretary position for your local LP county. They care about the kitchen table issues that actually matter to them. They want to know how you're going to help. They want to know that your ideas aren't just ideas. They want to know their solutions. So, I'm going to calm down now. If you're listening still and you're not looking at the TV being like, what the fuck happened to Brian? Yeah, I dropped some F-bombs today. You guys got me heated today. Whew. If you're looking at me saying, you know what? Okay, I'm hearing Brian out. Stick with the show. We're still going to tell you how to sell liberty, but I'm just going to be transparent, open, and honest so you all know what to expect. We are not, I repeat, we are not overtly a big L libertarian organization, nor are we overtly supporting big L candidates. I'm done with the shitty candidates coming on my show to talk about how great their ideas are, and they're just talking into a void. Now we're gonna be focusing exclusively on teaching good candidates how to promote their idea and working with candidates who aren't autistically focused on the isms and actually focus on making libertarianism appealing to people outside of our movement. So, with that, thank you for joining the show today. I know it's been a little bit different of a show, but we needed to have this heart-to-heart because, good God, what we've been doing doesn't work. So, if you are open to a new way of doing things, stick with the show. By the way, some exciting news. The We Are Libertarians Facebook page is now the Brian Nichols Show. We have officially partnered. Well, not really partnered. Sorry, Chris. We haven't partnered. We've acquired you. We have acquired the Facebook page. So that is now part of the Brian Nichols Show environment, and it will officially be merged into one super Facebook page going forward. So we will have collectively well over 130,000 folks that we can reach out to at any given time over on the Facebooks. So really looking forward to growing our audience over there. And we have a great group of folks already on the We Are Libertarians Facebook page who they get it. So I'm talking to you, members of that Facebook group, or that Facebook page. If you're looking for a different way of doing things, here you go. Here we are. That's why we exist. And frankly, why we've been having success. It's like elephant in the room. This show has been growing exponentially over the past year, basically. We're reaching literally tens of thousands of new people every single month. We're having great success over, even though YouTube throttles us all the time, we're still having decent success over there, but podcast number downloads have been going through the roof. We've been getting a lot of good engagement from you guys in the comments and in emails. So I just want you to know this message works. And we know it works because we have the data to show it works here at the Brian Nichols Show. And we know when we go out and we talk to candidates, and I teach candidates at different luncheons and stuff, those candidates who actually take the ideas that I bring to the table and how to sell liberty, they win. What? They win. I know. So this stuff works. It works in business. I do it literally daily in business. I coach, I teach, and we help sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of new business every single quarter. So this stuff works across the board. I'm not trying to convince you of it. I'm telling you it works. If you want to see it work in the world of politics by bringing policy solutions to the table, here you go. But I'm not going to force you. I'm going to work with people who want to see libertarianism have success. All right. I'm done being mean Brian, and we're going to go back to fun Brian. So thank you for joining us here on today's show. I know it was a little bit more intense than normal. It was a lot more intense than normal. We didn't have a guest. You just had to deal with me, and I know I'm a lot. So thank you for sticking with us. If you enjoyed the show, please go ahead and share today's episode. And when you do, tag yours truly at @BNicholsLiberty on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Yes, we are on the Instagrams. And also, if you are watching the show over on your favorite video version of the show, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it may be, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell so you don't miss a single time we go live. And also, I want to hear your thoughts. Of all episodes, I want to hear your thoughts. So please head down below into the comments and let us know what you think. And one final ask, and that is to please support the amazing folks who support us here at the Brian Nichols Show, and that is our phenomenal sponsors. So Cardio Miracle, we have our good friends over at Blood of Tyrants. They have their brand new Liquid Freedom Energy Tea, which, as I pull out the handy dandy can right here, there you go, Liquid Freedom Energy Tea. I'm just going to turn this in the back here. Oh, too far. For the video listener, you can see this. Filtered water, natural flavors, yerba mate extract, citric acid, fruit and vegetable juice for color, monk fruit juice concentrate, and stevia leaf extract. 7 ingredients. That's A+, if I do say so myself. Use code TBNS at all of those different sponsors for a special discount. Your heart, your energy levels, all of that. Well, thank you. And with that, I'm going to thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I promise next week it will be more toned down. We'll go back to having some fun conversations with some very amazing guests who will, in fact, leave you over my shoulder, educated, enlightened, and informed. If you enjoyed the episode, I really appreciate the love and support. So if you want to go ahead and make a one-time donation to the show, link is in the show notes via PayPal. I love you. I thank you for your support. You guys are the reason I continue to do this, even though we're 6 years into it. And I feel like the past 4 years have been bashing my head against a proverbial wall because some libertarians will tell me to my face that I know how to sell libertarianism better than you, Brian. And I'm like, do you? Where's the results? And they're like, I know better. So, okay, sure. So, to you guys out there, good luck. That's all I will say. Good luck. By your fruits, we shall know you. With that being said, thank you for joining us. Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.